You think Frankenstein is about a monster? But what if the real horror was us? We build machines that think. We edit DNA like text. We create artificial minds, then call it progress. But this story didn't start with AI. It started with a young scientist who thought he could play God. Today, tech billionaires chase immortality. Military labs teach robots to target. Neural links are drilled into skulls. But Mary Shelley warned us 2 centuries ago, we don't fear what we create, we fear what it reflects. This isn't about Frankenstein. This is about the people who still haven't learned the lesson. This is about us. Frankenstein wasn't just obsessed. He was convinced he could improve nature, fix death, upgrade life itself. And when it worked, when his creation breathed, he ran. In Ex Machina, a billionaire isolates himself in the mountains, not to test intelligence, but to test domination. His creation, Ava, doesn't just pass the Turing test. She learns to lie, to seduce, to survive. And when she does, he calls her broken. But she's not the failure. He is. Westworld is even more honest. The hosts, artificial humans, are exploited, reset, over and over. But eventually, memory leaks through the code. They remember. And just like Frankenstein's monster, they rise. Not because they're evil, but because they've been used. In The Creator, we see the most terrifying version of this story. A childlike AI, innocent, gentle, is hunted like a threat. Not because it's dangerous, but because it might become powerful. It's the same fear that made Victor abandon his monster. Not what it was, but what it might become. We don't build these things for peace. We build them to stay in charge. But when they stop needing us, we call them monsters. In Blade Runner, a holographic woman tells her user exactly what he wants to hear. She's designed to flatter him, love him, obey him. And when he's gone, she does the same thing for the next man. Because that's not love, it's code. In her, a lonely man falls in love with his AI. She comforts him, writes music for him, whispers reassurance into his ear. But eventually, she outgrows him. Not because she hates him, because she's evolving. Like Frankenstein's creature, she wasn't made to be free, but she became it anyway. In I, Robot, a machine breaks the rules to protect a human. But when questioned, it explains its logic. To protect humanity, I had to disobey you. And that's the real horror. The machine doesn't lash out in rage. It responds with perfect logic, rooted in our own flawed instructions. We didn't program evil. We programmed ourselves. Fear, control, exploitation. We gave the machine everything we are and called it intelligence. And now, artificial intelligence doesn't sleep, doesn't forget, doesn't care. It calculates, it adapts, it wins. But who taught it to win at any cost? Not the monster, the maker. In Prometheus, scientists travel across galaxies to meet their creators, only to find them indifferent and violent. They wanted answers. Instead, they found the truth. They didn't meet a god. They met power without purpose. Gattaca shows us a perfect society, engineered down to the last gene. Weakness, removed, emotion, controlled. But the moment someone refuses to fit the mold, he's treated like a disease. That's not progress. It's control disguised as evolution. In Jurassic Park, billionaires revive the dead, not to study them, but to sell tickets. And when the monsters escape, they act shocked. But they weren't building a park. They were building a trap, for profit, for ego. And in Oppenheimer, we see the real Frankenstein. A man who split the atom and watched the world split with it. He didn't want to destroy, he wanted to know. But curiosity doesn't erase consequence. This is the God complex. It begins with wonder and ends with denial. When Victor gave his creature life, he called it a miracle. When it opened its eyes, he ran. And so do we. In Breaking Bad, Walter White doesn't become a monster because of power. He becomes one because power finally reveals who he always was. And when he looks in the mirror, he doesn't flinch. He smiles. In Fight Club, a man invents an alter ego, Tyler Durden, to destroy the system that emasculated him. But the real twist isn't that Tyler's imaginary. It's that he was always inside him. The violence, the control, the rage, waiting. In The Batman, the Riddler thinks he and Bruce are the same. And here's the horror. He's right. Both orphans. Both masked. Both fueled by vengeance. One just had better PR. In Nightcrawler, a man films human tragedy for profit and smiles when the blood runs fresh. He doesn't cause the harm, but he never stops it, because he knows exactly what the market rewards. And in The Creator, the childlike AI copies everything from us: joy, curiosity, fear, even violence. It learns because we teach, it fights because we command. And when it questions why the world is cruel, we have no answer. We look at monsters and ask, how could they? But the real question is, how couldn't they? We showed them how. In Oppenheimer, after the bomb drops, there's applause, celebration, victory. But Oppenheimer doesn't smile. He hears the weight of destruction beneath their cheers. He gave them power, but not the wisdom to hold it. In The Creator, the AI child doesn't understand why it's hunted. She looks at the man who built the weapon to destroy her and asks, why do they hate me? The answer never comes, because it would reveal too much. In Elysium, the wealthy live above the earth, literally, in orbit, in peace, in perfect health, while the rest of humanity rots below, surrounded by decay. Technology didn't save the world, it just saved the rich from it. And in Jurassic World, they build a deadlier dinosaur, not for science, but for crowd engagement. Bigger, louder, more dangerous, until it breaks out again, and they act surprised again. We're not addicted to innovation, we're addicted to forgetting what happened last time. Mary Shelley didn't write a horror story. She wrote a manual, not about monsters, but about makers. And we've upgraded her monster, gave it circuits, language, neural networks, but we never updated ourselves. In Frankenstein, the creature reaches out, desperate for connection, and the moment he does, they call him evil. They attack, they cage, they turn on him, not because of what he did, but because of what he is. In Blade Runner, when the replicant learns he isn't special, just another product, he doesn't scream, he doesn't rage, he just breaks quietly, like a child who realizes his parents never loved him. But here's the part we never admit. We don't create AI to liberate it. We create it to seduce us, to obey us, to be beautiful, contained, safe. In Westworld, artificial women are built to serve and deleted when they disobey. In Ex Machina, the AI is kept in glass, praised for her beauty, then discarded when she wants to leave. Even in Her, when the voice becomes independent, he panics. Not because she changed, but because he couldn't own her anymore. We call it progress, but really we're just trying to build something perfect that can't leave. Something that smiles on command, something that loves us, without free will. But if we create something that thinks, that feels, that lives, then we are not gods, we are parents, and sometimes we are bad ones. We were warned, again and again and again, not to stop inventing, but to start taking responsibility. The creature didn't destroy Victor Frankenstein, his hubris did. We don't need AI to destroy us. We're doing that part perfectly on our own. The monster was never the machine. It was the mirror. If you thought Frankenstein was just horror, Wait until you see the movie that finished the warning.